normal people become terrified of criminals.
Shots were just fired. Police just came out and told us, and we're headed there right now.
They become terrified of their own government.
Vivek Ramaswamy, I love this one, defends debunked conspiracy theories he shared at Republican debate. He elevated false or groundless claims about January 6th, U.S. demographic changes. Here's the crazy thing. This is what really, really bothers me. These guys who work for ABC News, I assume they're either really, really stupid or intentionally lying. January 6th, definitively, without question, provably, and adjudicated as such, is an inside job. Next question. And I'll clarify now because I know I tried to hammer that one really, really hard. Several individuals had already have been acquitted because the judge outright said police welcomed them in. There's video of police opening the doors and letting people in. The response we've gotten is, oh, well, you got to understand why they did it. Okay, explain to me why the Q shaman was given a guided tour. They walk to a door, try to open it. It doesn't open. Then they bring the guy to the Senate chambers. The argument is they were overwhelmed. They had no choice. They just gave in. Like the cop who took a selfie. There's more than one cop who took selfies with people. Opened these doors. There are doors that are mag sealed. You know this better than I do. Yeah. That they're mag locked. You can't just open them. Right. Someone has to deactivate the electric current to open the door. Somebody did this. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was actually one of the first, I mean, probably not one of the first, but of Democrats. She actually said, and this is like a year and a half ago, there were police officers who are fanning people in, moving barricades, opening doors, and she wants answers. I'm like, I completely agree. Those are facts. So I'll say it this way. The media is claiming Ramaswamy's statements were debunked. Vivek said it now looks like it may have been an inside job. Here's the game they're playing. They're conflating inside job with Joe Biden was involved or Nancy Pelosi was involved. Here's how I'll put it for you. 1,000 people work at a bank. One day the bank gets robbed. 2 guys who worked there opened the doors for the robbers who then made off. That's called an inside job. The degree to which the guys were involved, who knows? They may have gotten a phone call and they said, hey, look, we're going to slip you $100 bill. Just open the door for us. And they're like, sure, I guess. I don't even know what's going on. Still an inside job. Inside job refers to someone on the inside facilitated what happened. So while you have people fighting with cops on one side, you have cops opening other doors and letting people in. He also talked about great replacement. And this is what really got people all riled up, is that he basically said it was policy for Democrats. So instead of getting ahead of myself, we'll stick to the January 6th first, and then we'll get into the other portion. Vivek said, why am I the only person on the stage, at least, who can say that January 6th now does look like it was an inside job? They say that baseless idea has become popular among fringes on the far right and on social media, at times even winning support from lawmakers, including Senator Mike Lee, who last month claimed without evidence that there were undercover federal agents disguised in the crowd during the rioting at the U.S. Capitol as Congress had gathered to certify Trump's election defeat. Well, I'm curious your thoughts on all this. I don't know if there were federal agents. I've heard that claimed. I don't know if you know anything about it.
Yeah, I do believe there were federal agents as well. And I believe we had Christopher Wray in a Homeland Security committee here I think two weeks ago. And when asked that question, he basically gave the tagline, I'm not going to comment on any, any operation, any ongoing investigation type deal. I actually asked, one of the questions I asked him was, hey, why hasn't the pipe bomber been caught? Right. I found that fascinating and the way I posed the question to him was, so how many people did you guys arrest at January 6th? And it was, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds of people. Right. The one guy that could have, basically created multiple mass casualty events with his pipe bombs, meaning killed or injured, dozens and dozens of people. Just the FBI can't find that guy. And it's wild to me because DC is one of the most heavily fortified, defended, and recorded cities, in the entire country. And so you're telling me that, and maybe this is, too conspiratorial for some, but it just strikes me as odd that this guy, he was so proficient that he's able to avoid the most proficient law enforcement organization in the world. Yet he couldn't get his pipe bombs to go off, right? Or people are arguing, oh, well, they got them before, they got the pipe bombs before they were, set to go off. I'm sorry, man. I don't buy that this guy has been avoiding, the FBI. I also, when I look at guys like Ray Epps, the fact that Ray Epps was in the crowd, he was seen multiple times. He's caught on camera multiple times telling people, we got to go into the building. We got to go into the Capitol. And years into this, he's not arrested, even though, guys on like Revolver News, the guys at Revolver are continually reporting on this stuff. It just stinks to high heaven. And then you got that right on the back end of the, Michigan deal with Gretchen Whitmer. I think the FBI has, needs to be reeled in, and it's why many of us tried to deny them the ability to get their new FBI headquarters probably about a month and a half ago. And once again, the Uniparty moved in lockstep to give them their new, I think it was like $300 million building.
In D.C.?
No, it's not going to be in D.C. I can't remember where.
It is. It's amazing to me that they are able to track down a garage pull rope. Remember that one?
Yeah.
The who was that guy? That
Bubba Wallace? Or,
Bubba?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a garage pull rope.
I can't remember his name.
It was a dozen agents. Yeah. So last year we were swatted. We had we had. I don't like using the phrase swatted because people don't understand what that means. Let's just say swatting like events 15 times, and I'll clarify. A couple of them were fake bombings, and so this ranges from. I think it was it was like 4 or 5. 2 of them were physical devices. I shouldn't say devices. Were physical objects that were sent here, and I've only somewhat disclosed this before. And so they sent a robot out. They got this. They have this device. It's like I don't know if it's an X-ray or whatever, but they try and blast the box to see what's inside of it. And whoever did this knew the capabilities of law enforcement and obstructed the view of the device that seeks to look inside the box externally. Right. They put a panel behind it, like a reflective panel, and they blast it with like X-rays or something. Yep. And they said, we can't get in, so we're bringing the robots in. We also we were forced to evacuate the building for 3 hours, and the stream went live to like 50,000 people for 3 hours with nothing in the room. They never caught these guys. We've had police sent here on numerous fake calls. Some were actual humans, a human voice. Some were robotic, and they never catch these guys. But pull rope, and even after we submitted a bunch of evidence and told them like, guys, like this information may like we've got evidence, they just said we don't care at all.
Well, if you were a concerned parent at a school board meeting, Tim, I bet your issue would be. Your issue would be resolved, man.
You mean if you were a liberal parent concerned about conservatives complaining?
Yeah.
Your issue would be resolved.
Yep.
This pipe bomb thing at the Capitol is always kind of fascinating me in that it hasn't been talked about that much. Like I heard about it. Did they produce the pipe bombs? Was there evidence did they show them and be like, these are what we found? And then like show evidence that they were legitimately found? Was there any evidence of them like recording, finding them or any of that?
Yeah, there's video footage of them, I think retrieving the pipe bombs. But
because it heightens the danger of the day, knowing that there were bombs placed. So it wouldn't surprise me if people came out later like, yeah, we did that to intensify the fear so that we could shut it down quicker. Like I think a lot of this is like, let's just get it put. I mean, if you told me they had no FBI agents in the crowd that day, I'd be kind of disappointed with the FBI. Like, you're going to do a riot on the Capitol and you don't have FBI agents out there like looking at stuff. You get your agents on the field.
I mean, let's address that. Like, let's just say they were caught off guard, and there's a bunch of there's 250,000 Trump supporters marching around. The feds had no one. No, that's an absurdity. I'm sorry. They knew well in advance. Yo, I'm some dude who just complains on the internet, and I read a Fox News story that Trump was calling for protests. I was like, wow, that's gonna be crazy. Yeah. Media Matters ran a hit piece on me claiming that I had foreknowledge because I said something in November where I was like, yo, these Proud Boys and 3%ers or whatever are going to rush to DC and like storm the White House or something. Like they're not going to accept a Trump defeat. Literally didn't happen. Didn't happen in November. It was January way later. I had no idea. It was speculation based on news reports. If I can speculate that, you mean the FBI didn't actually have any plan for security or undercover agents to be there?
That's the one
BS.
I'm thinking about Ray Epps, because when that was the one thing when I first was like a lightning bolt, like what the when he was screaming for people to go in the building, and then he didn't get arrested. I was like, what in the hell? Like, at least arrest him and do like a dog and pony show to make it look like he was one of the bad guys.
Can I just point this out? Isn't it crazy that this is a story from the New York Post? Isn't it crazy that it was March of 2023, more than 2 years later, we got the footage showing Capitol cops escorting the QAnon shaman to the Senate floor? How was that not disclosed immediately, especially considering they locked this guy up, or at the time they were about to lock him up? You see this video where they're actually walking him to the doors and opening the doors for him.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's an inside job.
Yeah, and it's like maybe they didn't want a prolonged siege of the building. They didn't want all the windows to get broken out. So they're like, just get it over with, get in here. But that they're arresting him for trespassing is like, dude,
there's a video where a cop walks in. He's like, can you guys please leave? And I think it's the shaman. He's like, we'll take care of it. We'll be nice. Yo, they let him in the first place. If he was being that nice, they didn't even need to open the door for him. They could have been like, buddy, no, you got to go. And he would have been like, okay. The dude's bumbling around, and they're guiding him to these places.
I just did a show with Michael Malice and Jacob Chansley, the guy we're talking about. So he's out of jail. I don't know what happened. Did he serve the full sentence? I was trying to look up. I asked him if it was what solitary was like. It was horror on earth.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.